Hello everyone, and welcome back to Touken Ranbu, the swords behind the Swordboys. For today's episode, we'll focus on a sword that might be more legend than reality, but whose story is so well known that it became the focus of one of the Hanamaru anime episodes, Kogitsunemaru. The name Kogitsunemaru means Little Fox Sword, and is a direct reference to the legend behind the blade that we'll get into a little later. As an aside, you'll probably notice that a lot of the swords in this series have the word maru at the end of their name. Technically, it means circle, but it's thought that it might be a blending of different words, and was used as a way for people to denote beloved objects such as ships, armor, or, yes, even swords. But back to Kogitsunemaru. The affiliation with foxes, particularly white foxes, is likely the reason behind his appearance. The ear-like tufts in his hair and the fact that in the game he often refers to his hair as fur, as well as the fox on his crest, all continue the motif. The legend of the blade is that in the year 989 CE, the swordsmith Sanjo Munechika was called upon by a messenger of Emperor Ichijo after the emperor had a dream about the sword. Munechika claimed that he could not fulfill the task because he would need an equally skilled partner swordsmith, and upon praying for guidance at the Inari shrine, was visited by a boy who said he would assist him. The boy is revealed to be the fox deity Inari, who is the Shinto deity of fertility, rice, tea, and sake. Between them, they created the sword that came to be known as Kogitsunemaru, and it is said that the blade bears two inscriptions, Kokaji Munechika on the front, and Kogitsunemaru on the back. Kokaji was an alias that Munechika went by. Despite this tale being widely known, it is here that the sword's history becomes a little muddied. Records show that throughout most of the 10th century, the blade was in the hands of the Fujiwara clan, a very influential noble family who, at one point, basically ruled from behind the throne. This association could explain why Kogitsunemaru has a very formal way of speaking and acting if he spent much of his early years with nobility. Within the Fujiwara clan, Kogitsunemaru was more specifically owned by the Kujo family, who remained in a high-status position until the end of the Edo period in 1868. However, the last credible documentation of Kogitsunemaru was at some point during the 12th century, when Kujo Tsunenori apparently brandished the sword during a lightning storm in order to drive the thunder away. The blade and Tsunenori both were then struck by lightning, which would have likely either destroyed or badly damaged the sword. The only real historical record of the sword after this point was a remark that Kujo Tanemichi made to Toyotomi Hideyoshi about Kogitsunemaru being a treasured family heirloom, which would imply that the sword still existed around 1600. Since then, at least 3 shrines have claimed to be in possession of the sword: the Hachimangu Shrine in Kofu, the Izonokami Jingu Shrine in Nara, and the Ishikiri Tsurugiya Shrine in Osaka. However, the first of these is a supposed 90-centimeter blade, which would have been much too long for a regular usage sword at the time period it was forged. The second is supposedly in a locked chest that nobody is allowed access to, and while the third is open for public viewing twice a year, its validity has never been completely proven. Lastly, let's get into some trivia. While the sword's name literally means little fox, Kogitsunemaru is anything but. The game classifies him as a tachi, and a lot of his dialogue mentions how his body is much bigger than his name implies. He only requires half as many resources to repair as other swords of his class. While a reason for this is never given, it may be a nod to the magical way he was created. And that's the story of Kogitsunemaru. As always, feel free to like and subscribe as it does help this video and this series out, and I hope to see you with the next sword, Ishikiri Maru, soon.